Women are doing it already.
But how? Okay, so even if it is done already, how is this working for us, Hank? How is it working? Is it working great for us? Is it we're flourishing here?
But Shantae, if y'all depending on the man to marry y'all, you got to give us something. You got to present something for us finding you worth marrying.
But is that a fair statement to say that when men are the ones who initiate marriage when we're talking about the decline of marriage? Because if men are initiating marriage and we're only focusing on the fact that women are initiating divorce, then there's a little bit of disconnect about who's really doing what.
Well, the disconnect is the person initiating the divorce. Because if the man is initiating the marriage and then you got a woman initiating divorce, who's the counterproductive person in that scenario?
If women have standards, men will adjust. I think history has proven that time and time again. And to some extent, you're right. Many women, that's what we know how to do is mother. And in many situations that happens. I do want to go back to a comment that Hink made, so forth as women not being ready to weather the storm. Well, my question to you is that comment was specifically made about women. What are your thoughts about men being ready to weather the storm, or just, I just find that very interesting.
Men don't usually leave.
About females.
And when I say weather storm, that's what I'm talking about. As soon as the weather gets bad, they quick to file for that divorce paper or separation or legalized separation, whatever they want to call it. They're quick to do that.
I just have a different perspective with women. I guess maybe my experiences are different just looking on the outlook. Many times, there are so many different situations, couples that you can see where Black women definitely stand by their men. Men where they've gotten into situations, they've weathered the storms, and many Black women stick by their men through thick, thin weather, tornadoes, and hurricanes. So that's
over 75% of marriages are initiated. I mean, over 75% of divorces are initiated by women.
So let me ask you a question, though.
Can I respond to that?
Let her finish it. Go ahead, Tia.
Is that because men are just not willing to file for divorce, right? A man can tap out of the divorce or the marriage and not actually file. A man can tap out, be done, and serve and be there in the marriage, but be isolated and allow the woman, almost force the woman to file for divorce.
Well, that right there, none of us can really just look at, prove, or whatever, just from a statistical standpoint. Who is initiating the divorces is women. So we can sit around and say why, who, what, when, but nobody knows.
But is that a fair statement to say that when men are the ones who initiate marriage when we're talking about the decline of marriage? Because if men are initiating marriage and we're only focusing on the fact that women are initiating divorce, then there's a little bit of disconnect about who's really doing what.
Well, the disconnect is the person initiating the divorce. Because if the man is initiating the marriage and then you got a woman initiating divorce, who's the counterproductive person in that scenario?
Can I, so just looking at some little bit of research and stuff that I had found, it was saying that men benefit the most in a marriage. It was also saying that even in bad marriages, men tend to benefit. And it said that typically reasons why women eventually end up initiating divorce more often as men, more often than men, is because women are more likely to feel held back within their marriage, whether it's related to their, careers. A lot of times women will put their goals and stuff on the back burner within the marriage and see the man progress and then kind of have some resentment, towards that because they're not kind of pushing for it the way they had envisioned themselves to. And then they also take on more of the emotional burden within a marriage. And that at this day and age, a lot of things that women used to tolerate within marriage, like with being with unacceptable behavior, that they are willing to walk away now as opposed to putting up with that. So those were some of the top 3 reasons that women said that they, why they initiate divorce.
So what you're saying is you go in a situation
at a time, please.
So you go into a situation, and next thing you know, you don't like the situation you signed up for, and now you start resenting the person that married you. And you, like your words, you using your words, the man actually grows financially, and you like, oh, I could divorce him and then get some money.
No, that's not what it said. It said that
sounds good to me. I'm out of here.
no,
Right?
it said typically women before like they meet their significant other, if they're in the workforce, they're working, and then they put their careers on hold, like how you guys said that's what you're looking for in a woman. You don't want your woman to work, you don't want them, to
No,
do anything other than take care of the family. So
Who
some
said that?
women,
said that?
well, in these YouTube streets.
No, nobody said that. Okay, I'm just checking.
Not you specifically, but that's what they would prefer. So what ends up happening is they will put their career on hold and make that sacrifice in regards to that, but because they put that on hold, they actually give you the ability to progress in your career. And so
let's be realistic. Wait, give me a second. Let's be realistic in a Black home. That sounds like one of those above average people's homes. Okay, like the man's doing that. So let's be realistic in the average home. Okay, but what I read was majority of women who are in a situation where they are the breadwinner, the divorce rate is going to be high. If the woman is the breadwinner, and this is stats I found, the divorce rate is going to be high.
Mm-hmm.
And so
the other one too was if a woman brings in at least 40% of the income, men end up having kind of like in a emotional, I don't know if the word is emotional, but it tends to impact them. If a woman is bringing in at least 40% of the income.
Well, let me say this. In 2022, why is the men benefiting more from marriage than women?
Well, it's always.
I don't see why y'all sit there saying it. Because if in 2022 people are not getting married, I could have a relationship and still get the same benefit as a husband. There's no difference. There's none. Not in 2022. Y'all, we don't have to get married, and I'm gonna get the same benefits. What's any difference?
That's kind of like what we were saying earlier. We do get more benefits not being married than we do married.
Well, it depends on what you consider. I guess what Enos was saying is value, because I mean, it depends on you. For example, and we'll talk about this a little later. What is it that you want your legacy to look like? Because that's your last name you're carrying on. Do you want it to be a legacy of single moms that you? Give me a second. Do you want your legacy, which is your last name, to be carried on by a bunch of single moms, kids who weren't raised with their father in the household? Because it's generational curses. At the end of the day,
I'm sorry.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's your last name that's riding on the decision that you're making. Okay? So go out and do whatever you want to do. Don't be married. Your kids, your grandkids, all of them see that. You're the patriarch in the family. You're the leader in the family. We do as you do. You lead by example. So if that's what you want your last name that to carry on to be, knock yourself out.
But y'all doing it already.
What?
Women are doing it already.
But okay, so even if it is done already, how is this working for us, Hink? How is it working? Is it working great for us? We're flourishing here.
But Shantae, if y'all depending on the man to marry y'all, you got to give us something. You got to present something for us finding you worth marrying.
I absolutely.
And if only thing you're going to sit there and provide for me is a reason for a damn tax break, is that it?
No, it's not it.
It's not worth it.
It's not. First of all,
I can have a full-time relationship and get the same benefits without the tax break.
And that's fine. But what I'm saying to you is when you look in the mirror, if that's what you want your legacy to be, knock yourself. This is free game. This is on you. This is what you want for yourself and your children, and what you want you want your last name to be carried on. It's not her last name, it's yours. It's yours. So if that's what you want to happen, knock yourself out. We're just having a conversation. And at the end of the day, it's not working well for us. We've seen it in the past. We have single mothers. We have these kids born out of wedlock. We see school system below average learning. If that's what you want us to continue to do, the numbers don't lie. Kids do better when both parents are in the household. They just do.
I got a question then. Without that being said,
married though, Shantae.
You said what?
If
you could be both in the same house without being married.
So
people's been shacking up forever.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's a problem, brother. That's a huge problem.
I agree.